Chris, would you like to say a few suitably insulting words? Thank you. First of all, thank everybody for coming. Thank you to the band for playing. Thank you to everybody who made the food, served the food, helped with the drinks, did everything else. Most of all, of course, thank you to everybody for putting up with my mum for 70 years. I'm sure you've all known her for different lengths of your life. I've only known her for 47 years, but it does feel like 70. I'm sure you all have your own personal story about my mum, probably more than one. But we've only got this afternoon. So I'm going to just tell you one story that I think pretty much sums up being associated with Anne Wheal. I went off to college at 18, and I set off on my Vespa and drove to London, and as soon as I'd left, they moved. Anyway, so I was living in Perivale, which is actually, I think it's sort of called London, but it's nearly Wales. I think it's that far out. And my mum and dad decided they were going to go to a barn dance. They'd been invited to a barn dance of somewhere where they used to work. Some of you, I think, were there or may have been there, but Mum was going to a barn dance, and so she and Dad dressed in cowboy boots and denim jeans and check shirts, and they decided they'd wear sort of 4-foot-long foam cowboy hats to this barn dance. They turned up and it was a black tie affair. So you can imagine. So my mum says, "What on earth are you dressed like that for? It's a barn dance." I'm a student, I've worked all night, they're going to come and stay with me, and I get a phone call, and don't forget, this is before mobile phones, so they've gone out and found a payphone and put the last 10p that they have between them in this phone box, and phone me up at 1 o'clock in the morning and say, because obviously we've got a coping strategy, haven't you, when you're in a black tie event with a check shirt and a cowboy hat, and the coping strategy that my mum has is the same one that a lot of you will have witnessed. Drinking. So they phone me up and say, "We're coming to yours in a taxi. We haven't got any money." So they get a taxi out of central London, turn up at my house in foam cowboy hats. So I have to go out and pay them all the money that I'd managed to earn all that week to pay for the taxi. And they come in and I try and introduce them to my flatmate. And my mum takes about 3 steps up the stairs and then just starts to lean. And she's clearly going to fall, and I would do this with my right arm because it was actually his right arm, but I can't. My dad, without even looking, just goes like that. And he's standing there holding my mum at 45 degrees. And I'm saying, "This is Jim, my friend Jim, we share a house together." And she goes, "Hi Jim, nice to meet you." And then my dad pushes her up and she goes upstairs and goes to bed. Now, that's just one of 101 stories that I could tell you about my mum, and I'm sure you could all regale us with similar sorts of stories. But I just think it kind of sums up my mum's ability to sort of walk through life regardless. The other thing that has always amazed me about my mum is she never has a hangover, no matter how much she drinks, which is the one skill I wish I'd learned. But I sat outside our house in London with when Kate was in hospital, and my mum and I, and we've opened a bottle of brandy and drunk it. And I'm pretty sure I only had a third. And I wake up feeling like the Deptford monkeys broken in through the window, beat me around the head with a big stick and gone to the toilet in my mouth. And my mum is up and hoovering the house and cleaning the house. She's absolutely fine, and I can't believe it. And it's never ceased to amaze me how she managed to do that. But the thing is, she's not only does she just get on with it, she can be incredibly understanding at that point. There was a time when Kate was in hospital and I phoned up needing a bit of support. Mum and Dad have jumped in the car from Hampshire, driven straight up to London. No, not a question. And I knew that Kate wanted to come out of hospital that morning and not have anybody around, and I didn't know how to say it. And I got up and the house was immaculately cleaned, and Mum was there and she's got my breakfast ready. She said, Kate won't want us here when she comes out of hospital, so we'll drop you at hospital and we'll go. And you sort of think, wow, you know, how does anybody understand all that when they've drunk that much brandy? Maybe it's a drinking brandy. Maybe I should just force feed her brandy whenever I want to understand the mad things that I've done. Because actually I have done a lot of mad things in my life. I've caused my mum a lot of trouble. Being here with a broken arm is one of those things, obviously. For those of you who don't know, I fell off a motorbike. And nobody has any sympathy for me, and I don't care, because I'm my mum's child. Some of you may know that several years ago we had a car accident in Spain, and Mum had to step in and effectively look after our son, who was 8 months old at the time. And you know, that's great, but actually what she had to do was not be a granny. So she had to do the not give him sweets. She had to not feed him whatever he wanted. She had to make him eat his greens. She had to do all those sorts of things that a mum has to do, not a granny. And then 4 months later, while it's wonderful to suddenly be a granny again, it's also a terrible thing to have a child taken away from you, effectively. But that's what we did. So our son took his first steps in the kitchen, in there. As it happens, we just got Kate out of hospital for a short period, and she saw it, but I don't think she remembers it, because she was still a bit doolally at the time. But, you know, there are some really great things that Mum's done for us over the years, and that being sort of one of those big ones, really. So she's, you know, she's not just a laughing stock. But I do think, actually, that, you know, Mum has given me a lecture about my broken arm, and about shouldn't I think about motorcycling and shouldn't I think about... And she's given me the kind of lecture that you would expect from someone who's written books about bringing up children. But I secretly think she's quite proud that her son doesn't follow all the rules and doesn't do all the sensible things, and I think there's a little bit of that, smart boy. She's actually been a template for a lot of the stupid things I've done. So if you think about it, I don't know if many of you know, but when she was 60, she decided she'd ride a bicycle from London to Brighton, 60 miles. She'd never really ridden more than about from here to the post office. She decided to ride a bicycle 60 miles to Brighton. You know, at age 69, she decided to join a rock choir, which is, you know, not just brave, but must be torture for the rest of the rock choir. But that's the kind of thing that my mum has always done, and I've done my best to be nearly as stupid as she has been. I think she set me a great example, and for that I'm very grateful. Now, those of you who are here, thank you very much for coming, but this isn't the first party that Mum's had. I've been to 4 or 5 so far for her 70th. I understand there's another one on Monday, then another one there's a group of golfers getting together on the 14th of July. So there will be at least 6 weeks, possibly 8 weeks of birthday parties for my mum. But I would say this, she deserves it. She deserves them all, because she's been a great mum, great friend to lots of people, great, I was going to say husband then, wife to my dad. And if my wife can give me my glass of champagne, or somebody can give me my glass of champagne, I will raise a toast. Thank you very much, James. It's very kind of you. Brilliant. Now I'm going to struggle. No. There'll be a way. Where there's a wheel, there's a way. And wheel.